Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be looking at the world of microfinance.
Okay.
Specifically, we're going to be focusing in on the Grameen Bank
All right.
and its founder, Mohammed Yunus.
Mm-hmm.
You've provided some very interesting excerpts from a
Yes.
summary of his book, Banker to the Poor.
That's right.
I'm really excited to dig into this with you.
Me too.
Um, I've always found microloans to be fascinating,
Yeah.
like the concept of it.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of
Yeah.
how this one bank in Bangladesh
Right.
became like a global model
Yeah.
for fighting poverty.
Yeah. No, it's really an amazing story.
Yeah. So where do we even begin?
Well, I think a good place to start is with Yunus's realization about the flaws of the conventional banking system.
Okay.
You see in Bangladesh, traditional banks, they viewed the poor as way too risky to lend to.
Okay.
I mean, they lacked collateral, they had these unpredictable incomes, and they were very often excluded from traditional financial services.
Right.
And this forced many of them to rely on these predatory lenders who charged just exorbitant interest rates.
Yeah.
And that trapped them in this cycle of debt that they just couldn't get out of.
Yeah. It's like that catch-22.
Right,
Like,
likely.
like you need money to improve your life,
Uh-huh.
but you can't get the money unless you have assets or,
Right.
a stable income.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And Yunus saw this firsthand, in the villages surrounding Chittagong University where he taught economics.
Okay.
And he was just struck by the resourcefulness of the people he met,
Okay.
like their entrepreneurial spirit,
Mm-hmm.
but also just how much they were limited by this lack of access to capital. Like
Right.
they had the drive,
Yeah.
but not the means.
Right.
And that's when that light bulb went off for him, I think.
Yeah. And he was like, I'm going to challenge this.
Exactly. He decided to take matters into his own hands.
Yeah.
So he started with this small experiment in the village of Jobra.
Okay.
He lent $27 to 42 women who made bamboo stools.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
That's such a small amount.
I know, it's a tiny amount.
Yeah.
But it was a revolutionary act
Okay.
because it demonstrated his belief that everyone, regardless of their economic background, deserved access to financial tools.
Hmm.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It really is.
So did it work?
Well,
Did this experiment actually
it did.
Okay.
The women repaid the loan in full,
Wow.
and they used the profits to expand their businesses.
That's great.
And that small act,
Yeah.
that was the seed that grew into the Grameen Bank.
Wow.
And with this new bank,
Mm-hmm.
Yunus completely flipped the script on traditional banking.
Okay, how so?
He believed that credit was a human right,
Oh.
not a privilege.
Okay, so
Yeah.
instead of, focusing on collateral and
Right.
complicated paperwork,
Yeah, all that red tape.
what
Yeah.
did Grameen Bank focus on?
They focused on trust
Okay.
and empowering borrowers.
Okay.
So their lending model was built around this idea of solidarity and community support.
Okay.
They created these groups of 5 borrowers,
Oh.
all women,
Oh, okay.
who were responsible for each other's loans.
Oh, so if one person was struggling,
Yes.
the other,
Yeah.
setting up a completely new
Oh, yeah.
banking system like that.
Yeah.
Um,
There were some challenges.
yeah, what were some of the challenges?
Well, there was a lot of skepticism surrounding the Grameen Bank's approach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, traditional bankers and economists,
Yeah.
they doubted that poor people would repay their loans without collateral.
Right.
And to be fair, there were initially some high default rates.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was
So different.
Yeah, it was a radical departure from
Mm.
conventional banking practices.
So how do they address those
That's a good question.
doubts and overcome those setbacks?
Well, Yunus and his team were incredibly adaptable,
Okay.
and they were committed to constantly refining their model.
Okay.
They realized that the power of the group lending model went beyond just accountability.
Okay.
It fostered a sense of community and mutual support.
Mm-hmm.
And crucially, they doubled down on their trust-based approach.
So instead of demanding
Exactly.
traditional collateral,
Yeah.
they just
They focused on building strong relationships
okay.
with their borrowers.
What else did they change to
Yeah.
lower those default rates?
They recognized that the poor often had irregular incomes.
Yeah.
A farmer might have a good harvest one season,
Mm-mm.
a poor one the next.
Right.
A street vendor's earnings might fluctuate daily.
Yeah, of course.
So to accommodate this reality,
Okay.
they implemented flexible repayment schedules.
So they just tailored the repayment plan to
Yes.
fit everyone.
It was about working with people, not against them.
Yeah.
And this flexibility was crucial in ensuring that the loans were manageable,
Mm.
and it helped significantly reduce those initial default rates.
It seems like they took their early challenges
Yeah,
and really used them as opportunities to innovate
absolutely.
and refine their model.
They were constantly learning and improving.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
One thing I'm curious about, though,
yeah.
did they focus on any particular demographics?
That's a good question. While they served a diverse population,
Uh-huh.
they had a particular focus on women borrowers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that's a really key part of their story.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back.
Yes.
And you mentioned before the break
Right.
that the bank had a particular
Yeah.
focus on women borrowers.
Yeah.
Why was that?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it gets to the heart of Yunus's philosophy.
Okay.
He observed that in many societies, women face greater barriers
Okay.
to accessing financial services than men.
Right.
They're often excluded from traditional banking systems.
Mm-hmm.
They have fewer opportunities to own land or property
Right.
and face cultural norms that limit their economic participation.
Okay, so
Yeah.
by focusing on women
Yeah.
borrowers,
Yeah.
Grameen Bank was
Mhm.
not only providing them with
Yeah.
financial tools,
Right. For
but also challenging those norms and
exactly.
kind of empowering them.
Empowering them in a much broader sense.
Yeah.
It was about more than just money.
Right.
It was about social change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Yunus believed that
Yeah.
investing in women was not just like a matter of social justice,
Right.
but also like a smart economic strategy.
Exactly.
Okay.
He saw women as incredibly resourceful
Okay.
and responsible borrowers.
Interesting.
Remember those group lending models we talked about? Well,
Yeah.
they turned out to be particularly effective among women.
That makes sense. If they're facing all these societal barriers
Right, yeah.
and they're often excluded from other opportunities,
Mhm.
they'd have more incentive to like
Exactly.
band together.
They have a shared stake in each other's success.
Yeah.
And they support each other.
Right. And they're not just like
Yeah.
borrowing money.
Right.
They're investing in their
Exactly.
collective success.
Yeah. It's a powerful dynamic.
Yeah. So did
Yeah.
the impact of this stay within Bangladesh or?
Well, that's the amazing thing.
Okay.
The Grameen Bank's model, it didn't stay a local phenomenon.
Okay.
Its success garnered international attention
Okay.
and inspired similar microcredit initiatives all over the world.
Wow.
Organizations and governments began to recognize the potential of microfinance.
So it became truly global.
Yeah, it really did.
That's really cool.
It's incredible how a simple idea
Yep.
can have such a profound impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did Grameen Bank just stick to microcredit or?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
They actually branched out into other areas,
Okay.
recognizing that poverty is a complex issue that requires multifaceted solutions.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting developments was their expansion into what Yunus calls social businesses.
Social businesses.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
I have not.
Okay, so Yunus defines social businesses as companies that prioritize social goals alongside profit.
So they're not just like a charity.
Right, they're not just relying on donations.
Yeah.
But they're also not traditional businesses,
Okay.
focused solely on maximizing profits.
So it's like a hybrid.
Exactly. It's like a hybrid model
Cool.
that combines the best of both worlds.
What would be an example of that?
Well, a great example is Grameen Danone,
Right.
which is a joint venture between the Grameen Bank and the French food company Danone.
Okay.
They created a yogurt factory in Bangladesh
Okay.
that produces affordable, nutritious yogurt
Okay.
that's fortified with essential vitamins and minerals,
Okay.
specifically targeting malnourished children.
So they're tackling a real issue
Yes,
with this business.
exactly. They're addressing a critical health issue
Yeah.
while also creating jobs and economic opportunities.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
But with any like innovative idea,
Right.
there's bound to be some criticisms or concerns.
Of course, no solution is perfect.
Right.
And microfinance has had its share of critics over the years.
Yeah. Like what are some of those?
Well, some have raised concerns about the potential for debt traps,
Okay.
arguing that borrowers could become overburdened with loans they can't repay.
Yeah. That's a valid concern.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
important
wow.
to be mindful of those risks
Yeah.
and ensure that these programs are truly empowering people
Right.
and not leading them into further financial hardship.
Were there any other criticisms?
Others have questioned the long-term sustainability of these
Right.
programs, arguing that they might become reliant on subsidies or external funding.
Okay.
There have also been debates about the appropriate interest rates
Right.
and the role of profit in microfinance.
Sounds like there's no easy answers.
It's a complex issue with a lot of different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
Yeah.
Mohammed Yunus and the Grameen Bank have left a pretty remarkable legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Regardless of the criticisms, Yunus has fundamentally changed the way we think about poverty
Okay.
and economic development.
Mm-hmm.
He's demonstrated that the poor are not passive recipients of charity, but rather resourceful entrepreneurs
Right.
who, given the right tools and opportunities, can lift themselves out of poverty.
It's a very empowering message.
It is. It's about shifting the narrative
Yeah.
from one of pity and handouts to one of potential and possibility.
Yeah, he really flipped that whole
He did.
on its head.
Yeah.
And he was also awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006
That's right.
for his work.
A testament to the global impact of his work.
Yeah.
The Nobel Committee recognized his efforts to create economic and social development from below.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what stands out to you from like this whole...
You know what strikes me most is Yunus's unwavering belief in the potential of the poor.
Okay.
He didn't just create a new banking model.
Yeah.
He challenged our fundamental assumptions about poverty itself.
He saw solutions where other people saw problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he proved that even small acts of kindness, like that initial $27 loan,
Right.
can have a ripple effect that changes lives and communities.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really inspiring.
It is. It really is.
So what other...
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what other innovative solutions are out there waiting to be discovered?
Yeah.
What other ways can we challenge conventional thinking and address global problems like poverty?
Those are great questions to ponder.
Yeah, as we continue our deep dive.
Okay. Yeah, it really does make you think, huh?
It does. It's a real call to action.
Like we can all be part of the solution,
Absolutely.
even if we don't have a Nobel Prize-winning idea.
Right. It's not about waiting for someone else to solve the problem.
Yeah.
It's about looking at the world with those fresh eyes, questioning those assumptions,
Yeah.
believing in the power of human ingenuity to create that positive change.
So for our listeners out there,
Yeah.
if you want to learn more
Yeah.
about Yunus's journey, we highly recommend checking out his book,
Yes. Banker to the Poor.
Banker to the Poor.
It's a great read.
Yeah.
He shares his personal experiences, the challenges he faced, and the stories of the people whose lives were transformed by the Grameen Bank.
Yeah. It's one thing to understand the concept of microfinance,
Right.
but it's another to see how it actually plays out in people's lives.
Exactly. It brings the whole idea to life.
Yeah.
You know, it shows how even those small loans can have a ripple effect,
Yeah.
creating those opportunities,
Mm.
fostering that entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
ultimately empowering individuals and communities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of microfinance
Yes.
and the legacy of Mohammed Yunus,
Mm.
there's one final thought I'd like to leave with you.
Okay.
Do you think microcredit could be part of the solution to poverty in other parts of the world?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Microcredit has shown incredible promise, but it's
Right.
not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right, because what works in one place
Exactly.
might not work in another.
Works in Bangladesh might not work in, say,
Yeah.
sub-Saharan Africa or Latin America.
Yeah.
Different places have different needs.
Yeah. So it's got to be like tailored.
It has to be adapted to the local context.
Right.
You know, cultural norms,
Yeah.
economic conditions, political systems.
Yeah. All those things factor in.
All those things matter.
Right.
It's not just about replicating the Grameen Bank model.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the specific challenges and opportunities of each community.
And empowering those communities
Yes, absolutely.
to find their own solutions.
It's about giving them the tools and resources they need to create their own pathways out of poverty.
This has been a really incredible deep dive.
It has been a fascinating conversation. I've really enjoyed exploring this topic with you.
We've learned about the innovative world of microfinance,
Yes.
the remarkable journey of Mohammed Yunus and the Grameen Bank,
Mm-hmm.
and considered the potential and challenges of these ideas in different parts of the world.
It really highlights the importance of thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
You know, challenging those conventional approaches and seeking those creative solutions to these global problems.
Well said.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep diving deep and stay curious.
Absolutely.